Nigerians feeling? What's happening? What language is the economy speaking? Do Nigerians understand this language? That's what is important because if you say Nigeria is a developed country and it's not evident, the impact is not being felt. It means it's a mere word on papers. So, developed country, developing country, these are grammar. I think what Nigerians are actually looking forward to is how they can live comfortably in their own country and enjoy the major amenities. We call them social vital amenities. All right. Well, that's coming from Deshina. And of course, I also have this headline right here, and that's going to be the last I'll be taking from the Leadership newspaper. Okay, that's not the last. This one says, Kaduna holds local government polls today, restrict movement. Well, local government polls happening all over the country. Benue did their own, even though there was some of controversies, agitations rather, from the opposition party. And the swearing in and everything, same thing happened in River State. Now it is Kaduna State. This is because it was being said that caretaker chairmen in all the states will not enjoy the local government autonomy that was being given by the federal government. And so all states are rushing to conduct their local government polls. That's from Kaduna State. And finally, from the Leadership Weekend, dignitaries honor Iwanyango at service of songs. Won't say may his perfect soul rest in perfect peace. If you want to get more details or interested in getting to know what these papers are saying, pick a copy of the Leadership Weekend and go through it for yourself. Let me get to Queen now. Hand you over to Queen as she brings us to speed with the next point of call.
Yes. Our next point of call now will be the Saturday Punch. And on the front page of the Saturday Punch, we have big story right there saying that Libya-based Nigerians recount ordeals after Super Eagles' 20-hour airport detention. And right there says how Libyan government and media plotted Nigerian team's ill treatment. One thing I've always said is that football is a game that should unite us as a people and not, cause this sort of dispute or disunity. Because what has happened now is has caused dispute between both Nigerian living in Libya and the Libyans who live in Nigeria here, and it's not good at all. It's not a conversation we want to have at this point in time. But it's just sad that the Libyan footballers and Libyans are trying to pay back what was perceived wrong that was done to them when they were in Nigeria, even though they never spoke up, they never called it out. I think what would have been best is, and this also transcends to relationship in general, whether workplace relationship with family, your relationship with people in general. Once you are offended, the best you can do is air your grievances, so that in most cases the offender doesn't even know that he has done something wrong. He's even unaware of your offense. You're only just bitter, waiting for a time where you can revenge or pay back what you perceived was wrong. So if the Libyan football team and footballers had voiced out or aired their grievances, we could have been able to come to dialogue, dialogue that would lead to peace and peacemaking. So I wish this never happened, but this is sad. And then we also have on the front page of the Saturday Punch, Pella Jarvis' love story attracts admirers and critics. And also, I'm scared my triplet born 24 years after marriage will starve. This is coming from retired teacher. And we all would attribute this statement from this retired teacher to the fact that Nigeria's economy is not what it used to be, and it almost seems like it's deteriorating, even though we think that the presidency has come out to say that these reforms we are undergoing might be difficult, might be hard, but Nigerians are going to smile at the end of the day, so it might be painful. But the teacher has just aired his thoughts and his opinion looking at the present day Nigeria. We also have looming retirement of skilled pilots will destabilize aviation, president and aircraft owners. Concern over CNG explosions. Federal government begins probe. Shock as Nigerian woman dies month after relocating to UK. Morgues overflow as families abandon corpses in pursuit of lavish funerals. This is a conversation that we cannot cannot stop talking about. Families slam police, silence 8 months after 5 corpses disappear. And also we have Jigawa tanker fire. Residents mourn loved ones as death toll hits 170. Now I want to react to a couple of stories on the front page of Saturday Punch. One of which is the overflow of morgues as families abandon corpses in pursuit of, funeral arrangement or lavish funeral. And what we have here now is that these morgues are overflowing because they have abandoned corpses here and there, while the family is running helter-skelter looking for money to bury the dead. While it is a good thing to be honorably buried, when you don't have the finances and your corpse in the morgue is taking over 3 months, 4 months, I mean, it's just wise, it's just wisdom to make do with what you have and bury that person honorably. Recently, I think there was something that was done around morgues just to ensure that people bury their dead. I think fines were placed so that people can, hurriedly. And we've seen this thing happen. We've seen dead bodies in morgues for over a year, 2 years, and all that.
That's not the best.
Yeah,
I think what should be done is whoever that has died, has passed already. So there is no need. I don't know, but then. Our brothers and sisters of the other religion,
one thing I admire.
That's one thing. As somebody is dropping dead, they will tell you God gave and God has taken. So the next thing is to lay the person to rest. But I wonder why culture and tradition has made it very, very tedious for people to bury their loved ones. You get to where the person is coming from and they're asking you for so many things, some parts of the North Central, they will be asking you for rights, cow, food.
Can we get done with religion?
You are the one that lost someone,
culture,
and you are the one
spending
spending money to feed people for losing someone. Well, this is not the best. And that's the reason some persons will always tell you, there was someone that died, I think last month also, and the burial was fixed for December. That's a very long time. What for? Because they need to run helter-skelter, look for money, to carry out the burial
And sometimes
rites.
you see people cry when the loved one dies, even when the loved one is, aged or certain age. And then you see them cry with so much despair, for days, weeks on end. And you're wondering, sometimes it might be the pain of the loss that you've just encountered. But if you probe further, you discover that they're not just crying for the dead. They're crying because time has come for them to run helter-skelter, to raise finances, to bury that person who has just died. And so the pain of, having to, and most times people go bankrupt because they want to bury their dead.
Yes, and that's the
They
worst
sell
aspect of
properties.
it. I tell people, if you lost your loved ones, if maybe you lost someone, you don't have to go break the bank.
Absolutely.
All right, for burial.
Absolutely.
If you want to do your wedding, you want to get married, you don't need to go break the bank. Do what you can, because what's gonna be, and whatever you do, people will never be satisfied. All right, so just do the needful and move ahead.
Absolutely. And I also want to react to, you just said it right, you do the needful, do something within your budget so that you don't go bankrupt, so that the living does not begin to struggle, so that we don't even have people dying because of lack, because of starvation, just because they did bury their dead. And so let's just do the needful and move on. And it's even more alarming when outside of culture and the demands of culture, people just want to live up to status. They want to throw a very lavish burial ceremony for someone who most likely was abandoned when he was living, when he was still alive. You will hear of parents, children whose parents were never taken care of by these children, and now that they've died, their children are looking forward to gathering money and doing all sorts just to live up to status. Meanwhile, the parents were never sought after when they were alive. That's such a sad thing to do and a sad place to be. I hope that everyone who has aged parents and people who are in dire situation will look after them and not just do all of the eye services after they've gone, trying to bury them. And also, I also want to react to one of the stories on the front page of the newspaper, which is families, residents mourn loved ones as death toll of the tanker explosion hits 170, with 70% of the people who died in that tanker explosion being youths. This is to tell you the state of the state where we are. So much desperation, and the people that don't listen, because this is not the first of such incidents. We've had fire incidences from way back, tanker explosions from way back, when tanker falls, even when we were not started experiencing this much dwindling of the economy. When tankers fall down and we have spillages, people run to these tankers to get fuel just so that they can sell and make money, or just maybe one reason or the other. And time again, we've had incidences of this tanker exploding and cutting short the lives of young people or people who happen to be around the community or around that place where that tanker was laden. Sometimes an entire community, sometimes a group of people, young people in particular. And it's just sad that people will not take cue. I understand how hard the economy is, particularly now. I think that's the more reason why we have this much number of people who have died from this tanker explosion. Because, again, you know how much fuel is, how expensive fuel is, pump price and all of that, and how expensive food and essentials are. And so any little opportunity people get, they will try to take advantage of such situations. And I even learned that while that tanker exploded, people, a lot of people, the policemen and security agencies went there to dissuade those people from engaging in such activities. In fact, they chased the police. I think they were running after these security guards, and so they did all of this, and they went ahead. The police had to leave. After that, So it's more like, why are you chasing us from our daily bread? This is an opportunity for us, rather than the oil spilling, the fuel spilling everywhere. Let's just take out of it. And they died. That much number of young people.
I think all of these, if you put 1, 2, 3 together, it's just because of poverty. That's risky. It's a risk.
Not
and
just
this
poverty.
is not the first time. This
Not just
thing
poverty,
is happening. Mentality
Ramsey.
too.
Yeah, poverty of the mind as well.
Yes.
Because I was saying that before we came this hard, before we started to experience this much hardship, we've had tankers that were laden, and people go to these places. In fact, awareness has been made. We've seen time and time again where tankers fall and people rush to get fuel and they died because of the explosion, as way back as the 90s as well. And so the thing is, people do not learn. But that's another thing again I was saying. When we get to that point where people are desperate, nothing matters, whether life or death. So you see, falls back to poverty and poverty of Nigeria economy as well. So we just hope that we get past this phase where people are not as desperate as they are now. Because that's the more reason why we have increased number of people who died in that tanker explosion.
When the community is telling you 70% of their youths gone, 70% of their youths gone. That's pathetic.
That's really pathetic. Well, let's look at other stories now. Ramsey, you have our next point of call. That's all we have on the Saturday Punch. And we will be looking now at the Saturday Telegraph, which you will bring to us.
All right. Thank you very much, Queen. Before we bring you the Saturday Telegraph, our guest will be joining us as he analyzed some of the stories on the dailies, but that will be after this break.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective. I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bands, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is business.